I'm going to show you how to move files in Navis and rotate them. So in this file we have several different, in this NWF we have several different files, our NWC, another NWC for the structure, and the piping. So the piping does not line up with the building. Each of the files has an orientation cube added to it, which is a 12 by 12 cube, and in this case we've set it at grid A1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my piping, and there's my orientation cube for my piping. We'll go to my review tab, do measure, and I want to measure from this corner of the cube to the same corner on the orientation cube, which I believe will be this corner. Now if I highlight this whole file and open up this measure command, with the pull down I can hit transform selected items, and since I have the whole file, it'll transform everything. So there's my view cube. Now if I fly back out, or my orientation cube, I'm sorry. Now my piping needs to swing into the building. And I think I went to the wrong points on the cube, so I'm going to measure one more time from that point to that point, and I'm going to transform that cube to there. I thought I was. Measure from there to there, transform selected items. So now my cube needs to rotate around, so I will measure the angle from this endpoint to this endpoint, to this one, and again rotate around, transform. I'm going to show you how to move and rotate stuff in Navis. As you can see in this NWF, my piping does not line up with the building. We went in and added what we call orientation cubes to all the files. So in this NWC there's an orientation cube along with this one. We made them different colors too in each file. Electrical has one, and my piping has one. So we will take and move the orientation cube onto the other orientation cubes. Using the measure tool from point to point, we'll grab this corner. I believe that is this corner. If we pull down measure here, it gives us an option, transform selected items. So now that's moved our file. Now we need to rotate our cube so that it lines up with the other cubes. So we'll measure the angle. And when we are all said and done, I think this is going to be the top. From that point to there, to there. Again, transform now. $180 off. So I've got the corners of my cubes wrong. So if I go measure from this point to this point, transform it, and if I measure the angle there to there, transform it, my cubes are lined up, and my piping is in the building where it belongs. Hope that helps. I'm going to show you how to transform items in Navis using what we've called an orientation cube. Each file has an orientation cube placed in it. You have one in your architectural, your structural, mechanical, piping, electrical, and it's at the same location in each file. In this case, it's at grid A1. So, and I like to make them all different colors so that when you get into Navis, you can see if they're not quite lining up a little easier. So as you can see, my mechanical pipe here is not in line with my building and my structure and my ductwork. So I'm going to use my measurement tool to measure from point to point. Measure from this point here. Excuse me. First of all, I'm going to select the file. I'm going to measure from that point. I want it to be the same point on this cube as it is on this cube, which I think is here. And we will pull down this measure tool and allow us to transform selected items. And since we have the whole file transformed, there it is. And it moved the points, this cube onto this cube. So now we need to rotate it. I don't think I'm on the right point on the cube, so I'm going to move it one more time. So that is my M302. Highlighted that file, measure. That point to that point, and I'm going to pull down here, transform selected items. So we're going to try and transform and rotate some stuff in Navis using an orientation cube. We've placed a cube in each drawing at grid A1, and it's a 12 by 12 cube, so there's one in the sheet metal, mechanical pipe, plumbing, electrical, structural. And as you can see, my piping isn't lining up with the rest of the building. So I'm going to highlight it all. My measuring tool. I want to move it from the same point on each cube. So this would be the southeast point. I'll measure from there. Excuse me. To there. Pull this down. Transform selected items. Now we're getting close. So now we'll use our measuring tool again, only we'll change it to angle. And I want to get this cube to line up on this cube. So I believe I want to measure from here to our common point to here. Rotate. Nope. So my cube is not in the right spot. As you can see, I need it to rotate to the right. So I need to move my whole file one more time from point to point. And we'll go from this point to that point. Transform. Now if we fly back out, slightly askew. So now we'll use our angle. We'll go from this point to that point to that point. Rotate selected items. And now we are in the building.